trim. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. If your dough is not nice and neat and squared like this, you will need that extra dimension for trim. But in any case, this is the size of that block that you should have. And a 1/4 inch dough, in terms of heft, lay, drape, whatever you want to call it, it feels like this to my hand. So you can kind of, that's what a 1/4 inch drape feels like, okay? Yeah, it's a little thinner. Okay. Now I'm going to mark this direction. At 4, 8, and 12. And turn it sideways and cut off my blocks. And I'm going to mark it this way at 4, 8, 12, 16. Turn it this way and cut into square. And a little bit scrap. Scooby. You can make a Scooby project out of that later. And they should be the same, uniform. And they should weigh 2.75 ounces. Is that zeroed yet?
Yeah.
Where am I at?
3.4.
Okay, how about this one here?
3.0.
3.0. And this one here?
2.6.
2.6. So, if I'm completely uniform, they're all going to be 2.75. But again, 2.6, 3.1 is all, it's all in the ballpark and it's all okay. Starting with pinwheel, I want to show you a couple of pinwheel. I'll actually take some of the smaller shapes. And you're going to cut in at 4 corners, like this. Apply a little bit of egg wash. Okay.
We said like here.
1, 2, 3, 4, push. 1, 2, 3, 4, push. 1, 2, 3, 4, push. Okay, that's a pinwheel. And again, this is a shape that's proofed before making a well. Okay? After you proof it, you make the well, you make that big well, you put a generous dollop of filling in there. And this I'm going to let it go and proof before filling. Okay, because I want you to see it done correctly. And the other garnishment that goes on this, I'll fill one so you can see what it will look like when it's finished. Again, you want to make a large well. And should I go, how about apricot? Or crimson berry? Well, almond has its specific purposes. Almond doesn't really fit into a pinwheel. I mean, you could. You can mix and match anyway, but these are some kind of classic combinations. Okay, so that's a dark berry-filled one. And then I've got this sugar right here called purling sugar. And that's going to go out just on the wheels, on the spirals of the pinwheel, like that. So that's a pinwheel. Now again, this is better to garnish after it's proofed, right? Okay.
Same with the pearl sugar on it?
Yep.
Okay.
The heat of the proof box will melt that sugar, make it solid, it'll lose some of its finish. And that sugar, by the way, is real nice stuff. You might want to touch it, taste it, nibble on a bit of it. It's cool. I like it. We call it pearl sugar. It's a form of casting or sanding or finishing sugar. Okay, now some filled shapes. I'm going to start with some of these smaller blocks. And this shape here is real easy. A little bit of egg wash. You're going to fold these 2 corners down and press. This is called an envelope. Fold 2 corners in and press. Okay? And again, you let it proof, right? But for purposes of demo,
You too.
the classic filling for this, cream cheese. And then whole pieces of fruit. And put your fruit in there like this. Oops. See, I'm getting nervous, guys. My hands are shaky. But I don't have that flop sweat thing going yet. It's like horrifying. Okay, so again, proof, push down, put a line of filling in there, and that's the envelope. I learned how to do this stuff at the CCA. You guys know CCA? CCA? California Culinary Academy. Okay, now some turnovers. Now for the turnovers, you want to open the dough up a little bit. Make a well. Stretch it. Okay? Open the dough up. Make a well. I'll do this one also. Open the dough up, make a well. And lightly egg wash. It's a really thick, that's like a paintbrush. Paint my house with that. Okay, a little bit of egg wash on two sides. Apple filling. Classic apple turnover, right? You'll need a fork. And there's one other item I'm going to need on here, and that's a paring knife. Can you find one in my box, or anyone grab a paring knife? Okay, great. Pick this up, pinch it together, dip your fork in flour, pinch this together. Yeah, empanadas. Yeah. Pinch it down hard to seal it, okay? Pinch it down firmly, aggressively to seal it. You want to cut 3 vents in there, and that's turnover. Now you can stretch this, again with the minis, right? Minis are good with scrap.
I think it's good with pineapple.
That tastes good deep fried.
Deep.
Anything in hot oil, yum. Deep fried food, we love it so much. Fried chicken, yum.
Next week we should do some pineapple.
Yeah. Plant.
It tastes better than that one.
ones that look like crispy and brown, or like the ones that look like empanadas.
Let's taste it in a couple of hours. This is your handmade apple filling. This is not stuff from a tub. This is not bakery food. This is the real deal. These are delicious.
Chef,
Yeah.
does this take longer to bake?
You know, that may take longer to proof and bake than this shape right here. That's correct. So you would do a whole batch of 12, all right? In this case, for this demo purpose, I'm going to do 3 because I want to show you a whole bunch of different shapes.
On a separate pan.
It can be on a separate pan, but I don't want to take one of the pans and bake 1 or 3 on one pan. What I will do is I'll tear the paper and I'll bake it. We'll figure it out later. It'll work. Okay. But you generally you do not want to mix shapes, all right? Of that type. And what's the next shape? Packet. I'm going to show you a different shape.
Bake claw.
Let me show you something else. We call this the vol au vent. You're going to fold it over and cut in almost all the way to the end, one dimension and the other. Vol au vent. Okay, so you have this, all right? Fold it over, cut almost all the way to the end. Vol au vent. This one's not on the reader, but I just want to do it. I'm inspired by one of those fillings. Pull it over, cut almost all the way in. Okay, and then you will.
Oh yeah.
It's just like a big old paintbrush. It's like too heavily loaded. Okay, and this goes over and over. That's vol au vent.
Oh.
Fancy. Fruit in the middle. Yep. And this one you can actually go ahead and fill now. It might be better to wait, you know, and push the well down, but crimson berry. Apricot. Peaches. Simple. Okay, we call that a vol au vent.